Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman. In today's video, we're going to talk about the tactics of the enemy. So, one of the tactics of the enemy that I am noticing that's going on right now, in the comment section up under my YouTube video, is that when you all comment and you might share your dream or you might share something about what you're going through with your prodigal spouse, here comes the enemy. And so the enemy shows up by replying to your comments, and they would say things like, "Oh, God love you so much. God, He wouldn't just, have you just standing and waiting for this one person. You deserve better than this, right?" And they would recommend to you, a divine replacement spouse. They would plant the seed in your mind, that it's the way how they go about doing it and the way how they say it. So again, they would start off with, God loves you, he wants you to get married. You don't have to continue to stand for this prodigal. Go and start dating, go out there. There's another one. God has several different of his children, that you can choose from. They would say similar things such as this, right? And I want you all to be aware, because this is a divine replacement message, okay, which we do not support over here at God Ordained Marriages, okay. I need you all to understand this. And see, you got to begin to understand the trick of the enemy, because the whole goal of the enemy is to steal, kill, and destroy. The enemy doesn't want any of God ordained believing spouses to come into the promises of God. The enemy doesn't want you to enter into your God ordained marriage with your God ordained spouse. So the enemy's goal is to get you to fall for a divine replacement spouse. The enemy's goal is to cause your mind to start considering, well, this person over here has the potential to be, my spouse, or this one over here, it's a little bit better than the prodigal I'm praying for, right? So understand, because that's the enemy's goal, to try to deter you away from your God ordained, who right now may be in a prodigal state of mind and being. The enemy's goal is to deter you away from the prodigal to a divine replacement spouse. And a divine replacement spouse is AKA counterfeit, aka sent from the devil. Okay, if it's not God ordained spouse, this isn't the plan, this isn't the will that God has for your life. Okay, Jeremiah 29:11 say, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Included in God's plan is the spouse he has already chosen and set aside for you. So to choose someone outside of this particular person who God has chosen for you is not, you're no longer in alignment with God's will, his plans for you. Okay? I need you all to understand this. And for those of you who are wondering, does God really choose our spouse? And there's those who like to say God is presenting to you options. The devil is a lie. Okay, because let's talk about this. So Abraham and Sarah. Every time in the Bible, whenever Abraham will have Sarah to lie and tell, wherever they were going, he would have her to lie and say that she was his sister. And I remember one story in the Bible. I can't remember the person's name, but the man took Sarah on as his wife, only for God to encounter him in a dream and let him know, you a dead man, because you just taken on this woman and she is a married woman, right? And the question becomes, well, why would God show up in his dream and basically tell this man, you basically a dead man because of this woman you just taken into your home, right? If God was presenting option, why God didn't just allow that man to have Sarah and allow Abraham to go ahead and, go divorce and go get married to someone else? No, because God always had in mind, because he promised Abraham a promised child, and he was going to birth that promised child through Abraham and Sarah. That promised child, Isaac, couldn't come through Abraham and Hagar. No, God promised and made his covenant with Abraham and Sarah. Let's talk about Rebecca and Isaac, because Abraham sent out one of his servants to go find a wife for his son Isaac, right? And so while his servant is out, his servant began to talk to the Lord, and his servant was like, I'm just paraphrasing here. His servant was like, listen, give me success on my on my route, in finding a wife for Isaac. And his servant, basically told God, this is how I would know this is the one you chose for Isaac. So he basically told God, I'm looking for these things. And if this woman do these things, I just, he just said to God, that's his confirmation that that's the chosen one. And so Rebecca did everything that he said to God. And so that was his confirmation that God chose Rebecca. Let's talk about Esther and the king, because as Esther was going to prepare, right? It was more women, okay, that the king could have chose from. But because Esther was the one who God had chosen for such a time as this, Esther is the one who God chosen to say, who he was going to work through to save her people, right? That's why God, out of all the other women who were in line, preparing, to be chosen as queen, God put that favor on Esther. Okay, as you read it, you read the book of Esther, you will see this. He gave Esther the favor. I believe it's saying in the book of Esther, when the king looked at her, she was more. I don't know if it says she was more beautiful than the rest, or she found favor in the king's eyes. It's something like that. But that was the Lord doing. That was the Lord letting the king know, choose this one. This is the one I have just for you. And you got to begin to understand this, because when we talk about God ordained believing spouse, if you're dealing with a prodigal spouse who is confused, God will place his favor on the chosen one to let your spouse know, this is the God ordained, this is the chosen one, this is the one I has chosen for you, just to eliminate all of this confusion. Okay. So understand, same thing with Ruth and Boaz. Ruth was led, and I believe that was God leading her, but Ruth was led right into Boaz's field, and it was other women working the field. However, when Boaz, stepped on the field, he immediately noticed Ruth. He noticed her. He began to ask about her. Who is that woman? How long has she been out here? Right? And then he approached her. Okay. And if you continue to read, I think it's in chapter 3, when you understand covenant, Boaz, his action communicated that he was in covenant with God's will. You got to really go there and really zoom in on this to identify what I'm saying here. So that told me, as I read it, that God made his covenant with Boaz and Ruth, based off of Boaz's action. Okay. I could break that down in a whole nother video. So understand, the devil is trying to get God ordained spouses to stop standing for your God ordained prodigal spouse and go and choose a counterfeit. The whole goal is to stop you or block you or delay you from coming into your destiny. Okay, that's the whole enemy's goal: to steal, kill, and destroy. He trying to steal your marriage promise. He trying to, destroy any hope you have. With your prodigal being restored. This is why the enemy is attacking you all with telling you all, you don't got to pray. Go ahead. God release you from prayer. The enemy is throwing out so many different tactics. He's telling you you don't have to pray. God release you from prayer. God, got other options over here for you. You don't have to settle. Think about it. Why is the enemy coming out of the blue with all of this nonsense, trying to attack you, trying to get you to stop praying for this spouse who God has gave you? God has given you several confirmation confirming this person, but here come the enemy telling you, stop praying. You are released from prayer. God raising up another one. They're trying to convince you prodigal time is up. You got to really think about it. Okay. So I'm bringing this to you all attention so that you become aware of the enemy's schemes and you don't fall for it. Another thing, don't post your dreams in the comment section, because the enemy is lurking. Okay. They are lurking. Okay. They are disguised as God ordained believing spouses. Okay. And try not to, give your phone number to anyone, okay, until you really vet them and make sure that they are really, a God ordained spouse. They are really here for all the right reasons, okay? Because again, The enemy will try to get close to you, the one that's standing. They will act the part. They will act like a God ordained spouse to get close to you, get in your business, hear, all of what's going on. You tell them your dream. They know exactly how to attack you, okay, behind the scene. And you wondering why all of this spiritual warfare is coming upon you, right? You got to be careful during this time. Everyone doesn't have your best interest at heart. Everyone isn't happy for you. Everyone, there are those who God hasn't revealed to them who their God ordained spouse is, and because of that, they are upset. They could get jealous of you because God has revealed your spouse to you. And so, you got to be careful. Okay. So be aware of the enemy's tactic during this time. Do not fall for a potential spouse. Do not fall for a divine replacement. Do not stop praying. Do not come off your post. You stay on your post. You continue to pray. You continue to believe God. You continue to trust God. You continue to obey God's laws and instructions. Okay. So with that, I am Tequila Coleman. I'll talk to you real soon. Take care.